So today we're bringing you a viewer recommendation of a deck. This is a TESL deck of, so we got Execute. It's self-explanatory because of Invade's pretty good, very good actually. I don't like Invade, but this is a viewer deck, not my deck. But Execute's a good choice. Rapid Shot's a good choice. Burst Stalker is good. It has 2/3 Drain Guard. I mean, it's always a good card to put in any deck. Expunges. Strange choice. It just heals a minion. It gives you a draw, which is cool, but if you're running like 13 2 costs in a 75 card deck, you want all your 2 costs to be able to be played on turn 2, so you don't start against like an aggro deck and not have a 2 cost to play, because that happens, you're not in a good spot. This card's okay. Guildsworn Revitalizer, it'll heal you. It can trade only because it has 5 health, so if you hit something twice with 2 health, it's fine. Redoran Forerunner's good. Wake the Dead. I'm not sold on this choice. It's okay, it gives you another draw. Again, you're running 13 2 costs, with 4 of them being draw cards, not minions, so you're running 9 2 cost minions, creatures. Which means that there's a pretty low chance of you actually drawing a 2 cost creature in your hand, which is bad against aggro decks. You have the Dark Guardian. And the Dark Guardian's a good taunt card, guard card. And East Empire Crafter. This deck has a lot of creatures with over 5 health, and it has where's the card? Divine Fervor to give creatures over 5 health, so I'd say it's a pretty good inclusion. Gale in the Shelter is always a good card. Golden Initiate, it's just another solid all-around card. It's got Prophecy and Drain, it'll heal you. It's a 3/3, it's good. Mollify, this is another Prophecy card, and it's removal, and it works on Oblivion Gates, so it's good. Bonewalker, it's another Prophecy card that I'm not sold on, because you can just, like, if you just throw it down for 4 cost in an empty lane, it's just a 1/2, which is pretty weak. But it can get pretty strong. I've played it for as like a 5/6, but I've also played it. I had to play it as like a 3/4 guard for 4, which is not the greatest, but it is a Prophecy. Edict is really good. Destroys anything for free. Fell the Mighty, also pretty good. Really good card here. Hive Defender, also a good card. There's one Ring of Imaginary Might. I question this choice also, because in Ring of Imaginary Might is also not that good. It's like a combo card most of the time. But if you're running one of it, I mean, what are you going to target? I mean, true, your creatures do have a lot of health, but it's a 4 cost card. You could just run like another minion instead, like this lady. She's a much better card to draw if you have to play something on turn 4 than Ring of Imaginary. But you're only playing one of it. I guess it's okay. I wouldn't play it. This card's really good. It'll keep you alive unless it gets silenced, and it's not a taunt, so they can't just decrease its health and then kill it or do something like that. Cards kind of suck compared to like non-guard cards that keep you alive. Okay, Divine Fervor is a good card. It gives everything +1/1. I'm pretty sure we all know it's a good card. Oh, Death Priest. That's another good card. So the targets for Wake the Dead are Dark Guardian, Bonewalker, and Hollow Death Priest. And that's it. Okay, back to the 5 cost. Phalanx Exemplar, that's a good card. It's a 5 cost, 5/6 with guard. So it looks like this deck's main objective is just to play like strong creatures and control the board with your minions, your creatures. Yeah, and it seems like it'd do a pretty good job at that. But if you play against like another control deck, you might lose, because they'll have cards like let me find the card's name before I say something stupid. Immolating Blast and Dawn's Wrath. They'll just kill the whole lane. Doesn't matter how strong your creatures in it were. But it seems like it'll do good against like something that's not a super control deck. Now where was I? Piercing Javelin, that's a good card. It's Prophecy. It'll keep you alive. Shadowfen Priest, only one. So in this deck, I think there's 4 total support removal in the deck, which is not a lot, but not many people are playing support decks anymore, I don't think. I haven't played many people, though there's 5 of the Belligerent Giant, which is enough, I think. Gatekeeper's good. Apex Wolf it's good in this deck because you're going to have strong minions and you want more draw. And this will draw, and it's an okayly strong minion. This card I am undecided on because it's a good card. Like, drawing 2 cards is good, but then it turns the whole game into just like a battle for one lane if you're playing against another control deck. And if you fail, you're going to lose. So when you play it, you always have to be in a better spot than your opponent. You already have to be winning when you play this card, otherwise you're just going to end up losing. Belligerent Giant's a good card. Put something back in their hand. This is really useful for getting rid of like buffs on cards, or getting rid of support, or just putting a card back in their hand so you win the game. Wilds Incarnate 3 of this card. This card's pretty good. I personally don't like it because I don't like cards with conditions like if you have 4 runes or if you have 5 runes. Because if you've taken like in the early game, because this deck doesn't have that strong of an early game, as I already said, it's got 9 2-cost cards, 9 2-cost creatures that you can play to defend yourself with. So I'm not completely sure that you'll have 5 ruins when you play the Wilds Incarnate on turn 7 if you only have 9 2-cost cards in your deck. And how many 3 costs do we have? We have 3, 4, 5, 8. We have 8 3 costs and 9 2 costs, which is like not that many creatures actually. But I don't know. Sometimes you get it off and then it's good, and when it doesn't go off, it's bad. That's just how the card works. Dark Seducer is a really good card. Drains on both turns. Gives you a lot of health. Sometimes, if you just play this against any aggro deck, you'll just straight up win by just throwing the card down. They'll just leave the game because it's just a really good card. They can't beat it. Frost Giant. This card's really cool. This is one of like my favorite cards actually when this set came out that had Frost Giant in it. This is the card I crafted 3 of as soon as this set came out, because it's just really cool. It's not that good. My personal opinion is that you could run like Vigilant Giant instead of it, and you'd probably be better off. But Frost Giant's really cool, so it's all good. And Vigilant Giant's really good. Everyone knows this. It's like one of the best cards, one of the best 8-cost cards in the game, I'm pretty sure. Mirror's really good. It slays everything. It's just like a board clear, and you end up with a 9/1 dragon at the end. This card's okay. I wouldn't say it's the best. I wouldn't say it's the worst. It can save you sometimes, because if you put it on like something with drain and you're losing really bad, you double the drain thing's power, you get like infinite health back. But also, if it's the only thing in your hand and field and you play it, it's just a 10-cost 10/10 with guard. And if you look at these other things, this is like a 8-cost 10/10 with regenerate, and it heals you. It's like better than this. So you really need other cards in your hand or field to really make use of this card. Red Gear is really broken. It just clears the whole board, so it lets you catch up on, like, if you're down in cards but you have more health than your opponent, you can just not play anything and just let them play all their cards and get hit, and just throw down the Red Gear and you're equal again on everything. It's a really good card. Mirak, this card's pretty broken. It just gives you, it's just like This card, I don't know how to explain it. It's just probably one of the best cards in the game. You just steal your opponent's card. It's like, why is this a real card? It's so good. So overall, I think the deck would do a pretty good job. And I played it till, I'll show you my match history real quick. I played it till from rank 12 to rank 5, okay? And I did pretty good, okay? I didn't do bad, but I was having some issues with, actually, we can probably see in the match history. So my losses are to, where is it? I start losing to decks with lethal because lethal will kill strong minions. It doesn't matter how much health your minion has or how well it trades if it dies in one hit to lethal. Lethal's good against it, and face decks are good against it. As I said, it has a really bad problem with having 9 2-cost creatures and 8 3-cost creatures, which is not a very strong early game. When you have 75 cards in your deck, there's not a great chance you're going to draw one of those. But it does pretty good. Like, I'd say I probably won half the games against aggro decks I played. I didn't win all of them, but half is pretty good. I mean, if I was going to try and use this to actually climb the legend, I would definitely increase the amount of 2-cost creatures in here. Actually, I'll show you. This is what I would suggest. Well, it's not exactly what I would suggest if we're trying to get to legend, but I'd say this is an improvement to it, is what... Where is it? Is this it? No. This is not it. This is the original deck. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. So what I suggest is taking out the alright, where's this deck again? The Expunge. I don't think it's that good. And Wake the Dead for actual 2-cost creatures that you can use to defend yourself. And since we're taking out Wake the Dead, I think we should take out Bonewalker. But we're going to replace Bonewalker with another Prophecy, which would be, in my opinion, there's this, I think we should replace Bonewalker with the City Guard. Oops, I just put in the City Guard into this deck. We should replace Bonewalker with the City Guard because it's got Prophecy too. It's pretty good. It's a 2-cost. We can play it on turn 2 so we don't lose with only 9 creatures. What else did I take out? Oh yeah, where's mine? The edited one. Here it is. You put in this guy. This guy's really good for 4-cost. As I said, the Bonewalker you can't just really throw down on the board when your opponent doesn't have anything. This thing you can, and you can also put it down when your opponent has stuff, and it has like a fake guard because it has drain on it and breakthrough, so your opponent is going to want to kill it if they're an aggro deck. What else did I change? I took out the rapid shots. There's nothing wrong with the rapid shots. I just thought we didn't really need the rapid shots in there, you know? And since I took out the rapid shots, I was able to put in another Vigilant Giant. Yeah, and I took out one of the Wilds Incarnate for Frost Giant. Now, if we're trying to get as high as possible, this is not a move I'd say we should do. I would say we should take out a Wilds Incarnate and put in 3 Vigilant Giants instead of a second Frost Giant. But, yeah, I think those are all the changes I made, actually. It was a pretty good deck. It just lost to aggro too much because it had 9 2-cost minions in it. And 8 3-cost minions in it. That was its only major issue. Also, this card... this card is just like such a... Like, it can be such a huge benefit or a detriment to the whole deck. So you have to be really careful when you play it. Oh yeah, there was one more issue I found with the deck. I took out Ring of Imaginary Might also. One more issue I found with the deck was that there wasn't really like a card that would win you the game. Like, it'd get you a ton of value if you didn't remove it. So oftentimes you just have your opponent ending your turn because you don't want to break their runes early. You want to break them all in the same turn and win. So what I did was I put in this guy. He plays at the end of the turn. He summons a random creature from your deck to a random lane, and that helps you. Gives you a ton of value over time if your opponent doesn't have anything left. Which is one of the issues I was finding, is that there was no card that actually gave you value if your opponent wasn't playing anything. Because you want to kill your opponent on one turn. This card is good for that because it'll just play whatever out of your deck all the time. And yeah, it's just a really good card. But when you play this card, okay, you don't play it like a normal card. Like normally you just throw it down, turn 6. What you do, in my opinion, with this deck, is you use this card as like your finisher. So these cards, Frost Giant and Vigilant Giant and Dark Seducer, they're all scary cards, right? So your opponent's going to want to remove them. So after, when your opponent has like 1 or 2 cards left in their hand, is really when you want to play this guy. Or this guy. Either one of these, when your opponent's low on cards, is when you play them. And then they basically win you the game on their own. But you have to be really careful when you play these two. Well, this one in particular. This one you can throw down, but it's really the best benefit if you play it when your opponent has a few cards after they've already had to remove your other big threats. And yeah, that's about it. So, if you like it, it'd be pretty cool. Yeah, that's all.